Raise your hand only if you have a question.
So my question is basically just about jobs. You mentioned before that having a boss is pretty non-ideal in terms of seeking truth. So I was just wondering what role you think self-employment plays in being free enough to seek the truth. If you think it's
why are you asking the question? How is it going to affect what you do?
Because I think, depending on your answer or your perception, maybe I would be more likely to strike out on my own rather than involving other people. I'm wondering.
But why does it matter what I say? Because I never recommended that someone become self-employed versus working for a boss. Whatever things I say, people understandably misinterpret them because they view them from the standpoint of what they are used to hearing in the world. And so if I say something, they view it as me condemning it. You have to really go by what is it that you're looking for, as opposed to doing something that's right. I mean, if you become self-employed, I mean, you phrased it such that I think your phrasing was that I said that having a boss is not ideal as far as seeking truth. Well, you could be self-employed all day long, and that has nothing to do with seeking truth either. So it isn't like a self-employed individual is at a higher advantage of seeking truth. So I'm not really understanding the impetus of the question. If what you do is based upon what I say, then it isn't coming from you.
Right. I guess I've just noticed personally myself that if I'm owned or controlled in some way by someone, like my time is owned or controlled in some way by someone, then it tends to have a suppressive effect on everything else I do. So and
then there's obviously, there's a logical basis for that. That is, that definitely, what you have said makes sense. There's logic in that. If someone tells you, what to do, where to go, how many weeks of vacation you can have, what time you have to come in and leave, and so forth. But I guess it would depend upon how different things would be if you were self-employed. And obviously, the boss would change from someone else being your boss to be you being so-called your own boss. But I suppose, sometimes people have a fantasy that things are going to be very different when they're their own boss. And sometimes that's true, sometimes it isn't. So just changing the boss, if that's the only difference, without really knowing what you're going to do and how that's going to play out for you, it may not turn out the way that you think it'll turn out if you believe that just changing the boss might make a massive difference. And I'm not saying it will or it won't. I'm just saying a lot of times people make these assumptions that making a change from one thing to another will give them X, but oftentimes it doesn't. It might, but it may not.
Right. Yeah, I guess I've just had success in the past with finding like the thing that I usually there's like one or two things that by eliminating those things, it kind of changes everything else in a really big way. And right now I'm kind of stuck in the phase of trying to figure out what those things are in this particular area of my life. And one strong candidate just seems like not having someone else being able to tell me what to do. But even if I was self-employed, then I would have clients telling me what to do in a sense. So it seems like anytime money's involved, there is some degree of compromise. I guess that would maybe be a smarter version of the question, is how do you avoid compromising while still making money?
Yeah, that's a non-starter. It doesn't go anywhere, because then that's coming down to a prescription that you're asking for, and
Right.
that won't go anywhere. So, but it looks like you have some working out to do in your own mind before jumping to any sort of changes